Muay Thai Radio is brought to you by the Muay Thai Preservation Project, a 501c3 public charity, making a difference to Muay Thai. To learn more about how you can help, please visit www.muaythaipreservationproject.org.
Thai boxing. Thai boxing. Come see the Thais, watch how they fight with just everything. Their hands and feet and bows and knees. This is an art of boxing you would all love to learn. Ooh-ah.
Saudi Cop, welcome back to Muay Thai Radio. Thank you for joining us here on episode 28. I'm your host, Liam Tarrant, with my co-host, Owen Bonus.
Thank you, Liam. Thanks, buddy.
And our special guest today, we've got Mr. Ognjen Topic in studio.
What's up?
And we've got Joseph Bazooka Joe Valtellini on the line.
How's it going, everyone?
What's shaking, Joe? Fresh off a win at the Glory Tournament. How was that experience, dude?
It was awesome, man. It was definitely the best experience of my career so far. It was my first international fight, so it was something that I haven't experienced before. So I was trying to battle time differences, larger stage, big opponent. So it was something different, and it was an awesome experience.
And your opponent had quite a bit more experience and he was pretty well known there, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a Turkish fighter who fought in, I believe, the 2006-2007 K1 Max. He was also the Showtime champion in Holland, so I believe he had about almost 80 or 90 fights, so really well-rounded, really has a lot of experience. He fought, I think he has knockout wins over guys like Albert Kraus, Shahid, Drago, so very well-known internationally.
Think he might have slept on you a little bit? He saw that maybe you didn't have the same kind of amount of professional fights that he did?
I think so. It's probably something he looked at and was kind of like, who is this guy? And, he's probably tried to make quick work of me. If you watch the fight, you can see he came out really aggressive in that first round. So he probably wanted to do some quick work and finish the fight early.
Not how it worked out.
No.
Team Ultimate had other plans.
You put him down with
right.
We started talking about this the last time we tried to podcast. That head kick was really, really impressive. It was, I don't know, man. I couldn't believe how flexible you were because you're a muscular dude. You still had a glove on him and you got the leg up to put it on his head.
Yeah, it's something that I've always worked on in my camp with my coach. So it's something that just sometimes comes out naturally. Sometimes I'll go to the legs, sometimes I go to the head. So even having a Taekwondo background, sometimes some of those kicks and those spinning attacks and those high kicks, they just come out naturally. So it just happened, It's something that I knew his hand was dropping and he was trying to go to the body a lot inside. So I thought it was a perfect time to just let that kick go.
Do you do any flexibility? Do you do any yoga training or anything like that?
Not much of that. It's just general stretching. And my coach and I work a lot of single pad where it's kind of working my low kicks, high kicks, spinning attacks. So the type of training we do with my team, it definitely helps bring out that kind of kick.
Oh, that's cool, man.
That's right. What about you, Ogden? What's your feeling on stretching?
I just my stretching is going out for a run and then coming back and then starting class.
That is funny how you do that. It's funny that the two of you guys are both on here because we haven't spoke to Ognjen since he was in a similar situation, man. He was another guy with tremendous amount of experience that probably slept on you looking at your record on paper, and it didn't work out for him either with a head kick.
Yeah, I mean these guys don't know. I mean not everybody's the same when they come from this part of the world. There's guys like myself and Joe that take this really seriously. So we train hard and we believe in our skill, and we feel like that we can hang on that elite level.
You guys definitely showed that. We were talking about Ogden's win over Pal Red on the last Lion fight, which also you signed a 3-fight deal with them.
Yeah, next fight's gonna be July 26th against Coke.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, it's a big fight.
What did you guys find for a weight with that?
I believe it's gonna be 132.
You're cool with that?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
gonna-
it's good weight.
He's a jack dude.
Yeah, he is.
He's a jacked
I'm not
132.
sure. I'm not sure how old he is. Anybody know?
I'm not sure. No. I don't think Ty's age past like 22.
yeah, he could be. He's 48.
They go backwards. I heard he's like 12 now.
Joe, did you like fighting on the lion fight?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience there. It was actually my first full rules fight, which was nice to have, because most of my fights were happening in New York with Friday night fights. So it was actually my first full rules fight, and getting to fight someone like Gregory Choplin was a great experience there.
I wanted to throw one thing out there. I was happy to get both of you guys on the podcast, Ognjen and yourself, Joe, because we've got Ognjen, who's got more lean towards the full rules end of things, but Joe, now you're going into the K1 direction. I thought it would be an interesting kind of dynamic seeing if you guys, how you chop it up. Now, Joe, you went full rules. Was that an important thing to you to show that, look, I'm not just K1, or was it even on your mind? It was just a fight you could take?
To me, it was just wanting to fight top international opponents, whether it was kickboxing or full rules Muay Thai. To me, I love both. It's when I first started the sport, my coach has K1 experience. He coached Gary Goodridge through most of his Pride in K1 days, so he's very experienced in K1 style. And I always loved K1 kickboxing, watching guys like Ernesto Hoost fight and those heavyweights. I just loved it. So my coach always had that background in that training in K1, so he brought it out in a lot of us. But at the same time, he's a very traditional guy as well. So we were always still working the traditional Muay Thai as well as the K1 style. So I found it was I could fight both and easy to adapt to both. And it's something I want to show that I can still fight both styles. So it was important for me.
Ognjen, is there a reason why you decided not to really pursue much of, because we had to do modified rules in New York anyway. That's we were stuck with it up until this point. Now it's legal. Ognjen, did you decide at a certain point you just want to go full rules?
No, it was just always from the get-go. I don't know. There was just something about that style, the way Muay Thai looks, when you put elbows together, because the whole fight changes the way people fight when, you throw elbows in there. People aren't really gonna go buck wild with the hands because they know that there's gonna be a vertical elbow waiting for him, at the end of that combination. So I don't know. I think it's just something about the style that I like, with full rules.
And I'll speak for all three of you fighters. I know you would all take whatever fight came your way if it was a good fight.
Yeah,
it was a fun
absolutely.
Fight.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're absolutely right. I mean, if somebody presented me with a K1 fight and it was, a well-known guy,
Yeah.
and
Like a glory show or something.
and there was like a nice check attached to
Yeah.
it, I would absolutely take that fight.
Joe, was that okay? Was that all right, me speaking for you on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's exactly how I look at it. So a
Right.
fight's a fight at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
we're
And
not gonna
sometimes,
back down from 'em.
sometimes I like to take a break from full rules and just fight no rules, because then you're like, oh, awesome, I don't have to worry about elbows today, I
Right.
don't have to get cut. So it's a good feeling too, once in a while.
Did the fight with Choplin? I mean, that dude is really good. He caught you with elbows, disengaging from the clinch. Did you change your style after that? Was that something that you needed to readjust?
I had a fight right after that against Mehdi Baghdad in LA, and knowing my style and knowing these guys, and I knew from the outside and from a kickboxing perspective, I was better kickboxers than those guys, and I knew both of those guys had plans of trying to come in and use their elbows against me. So yeah, it kind of slowed me down a little bit, but I had to use a little more angles and kind of use more in and out attacks, which kind of sucked for me because I like to stay in there and stay aggressive. But again, changing it up, I had to change it up after getting hit with those few elbows.
That Choplin dude is good, man. That's Chaz Mulkey. We had him on, and he was talking about him, and he said the thing that's amazing about Greg Choplin is he's as good as he needs to be.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, is that someone that maybe you'd want to fight somewhere down the line? That name seems to come up a lot with yours, Chaz Mulkey and you.
You know what? If it presents itself, it's not on the radar for me. But if it ever comes up, it's definitely a fight I would like to take. He looks like an exciting fighter and likes to bring a fight. So I think it would be an exciting fight for North America supporters.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see that fight.
So Fight Sport Asia actually just put out a great article about. It was titled
Asia. Ew. Sorry.
It was titled 5 Reasons Muay Thai Will Always Struggle in the United States until something changes. And what you guys were just saying reminded me of this because you're saying, the field is so limited. There's only so many fighters. Whether it's
Right.
K1 or Muay Thai, if you're a stand-up fighter, you got to take what you can get in a way. Do you feel like that is hindering the scene, or it's just nothing you can do? I feel at the end of the day, it's time. You got to wait till there's more fighters getting out there.
Right. I think the only thing you can do is once you reach a certain level, you got to start fighting abroad, or have these bigger promotions such as Lion Fight, bring the bigger names in. The Thai fights, the Thai fighters from Thailand and things like that. So I mean, that's what's working out for me right now.
Joe, I feel like Canada's always had a very strong amateur scene, Joe. Do you think that's one reason why we're seeing so many good Canadian fighters? Yourself, Matt Embry, everybody else down along the line.
Troy Simon,
yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's the amateur scene there is actually not really that great. Where we're all from, it's a province called Ontario in Canada, and professional Muay Thai is still illegal. So we've all had to travel for professional fights, and again, it was hard for us to get that professional experience because a lot of promoters didn't want to invest or kind of send us out because we're such an expense to them, having to fly us out or to drive us in, and plus paying purse on a lot of the smaller local shows. So getting professional experience was definitely hard. Even amateur, there was in Ontario, there was only when I was going through the amateur ranking, there was only one organization that was putting on amateur shows, and that ended up going belly up. So at one point, there was not even amateur fights in Ontario. So that's when I had to do traveling I did the IKF tournament in Florida and just tried getting amateur experience outside of Ontario. So it was difficult to get amateur experience. If you look at my amateur record, I only have 11 amateur fights before I turned professional, but I trained, I think 4 years before I turned pro, 4 or 5 years of amateur before I turned pro. So, and I only had 11 fights, so very difficult.
Right. Do you think it comes down to the fans going out to the shows? Because if nobody shows up at the end of the day, if nobody shows up to these promotions that are getting put on, they're going to shut down, and then we got nobody to blame but ourselves for not going. If there's a fight in New York, I'll go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Even though it's a hassle, but it feels like it has to come from like all areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the government's really tough here in Ontario. There's a lot of government legislation that kind of pushes people against holding shows. It's really tough. Even fighting MMA. MMA just got legal in Ontario, and that's a big step. But still, we're not seeing all these promotions happening. So we'll see what happens in the near future, especially with kickboxing and Muay Thai. Hopefully they can get it professionals, kickboxing or Muay Thai here. I would love to fight at home in front of friends, family, coworkers, and something I haven't experienced. And actually, the Glory, June 22nd, I feel that's actually my home for fighting. I started, and most of my fights are there, so I'm actually excited to be back in New York, and I feel to me that's a second home for my fighting.
Where's that going to be? What venue?
It's at the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I'm not sure exactly where that is. Apparently, old WWE Raws were there, so has a lot of history there, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Are you a WWE guy? First of all, I'll say
Not
that
much,
I am.
But people are telling me. People are telling me it was there. That's how I know that fact. I'm just giving out random facts I heard.
You got to let that go, Owen.
I can't,
time,
dude.
man.
It's part of my identity.
The time has passed.
Oh, why? Because I'm 30, 31.
What do we have to do, Joe, to get you to do some kind of a flying move off the top balcony onto your opponent?
I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a surprise. I'll start working on something.
Troy Sheridan, and bring in maybe a picnic table, put your opponent through it, something like that. I think that was...
I say barbed wire rope.
Some ladders, some chairs.
Yeah.
Can make it interesting.
Liam's still into wrestling, right?
I don't watch it anymore, but no, back in the day, I'm all about wrestling from back in the day.
There's history there, son.
It's like a cartoon, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Speaking of Troy, this is something that I've been interested in, and I've been meaning to bring this up on the podcast. I'm fascinated by the dynamic in gyms that have two highly competitive fighters. Like, we got Liam and Ognjen here, been training together for years. You and Troy Sheridan. I'm thinking of Simon Marcus and Matt Embry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Jordan Watson and Liam Harrison. is there, in your opinion, does having someone like Troy there, maybe just to keep it competitive on some Wednesday when maybe you're not, I don't know. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's a strange dynamic that gyms seem to put out, like maybe two guys.
Yeah, I think it's important. A lot of times, when coaches aren't there, or you need that someone to be able to push you and hold pads for, and it becomes like a brotherhood where it's your success is their success, and you want to see that other person succeed. So even if you're having a rough day, and Troy has a fight, he's pushing me still. So even when I'm off of fights, he's constantly pushing me, and so we're always having to keep pushing each other no matter what. And I think that makes us better fighters at the end of the day. And, we work things together. We're constantly drilling things together. So I think it's important to have that other person. And it just so worked out. Troy and I are very similar in weight. And it helps. It helps come fight time to have that person.
It's interesting you bring this up. Talking to the class after at the end, I was just telling them that for this next fight, I'm gonna need all the support that I can get, and even the beginners. I try to do spar even them, and by sparring we do Len Chen, which in Thailand is very light and controlled, and I like to go with even like the beginners because they just come out of nowhere. They would be right in your face, but then they end up kicking you in the body, and I'm like, how did that just happen? You know what I mean? And with an advanced fighter or sparring partner, exactly what's gonna come. It's gonna be a clean cut combination. So you see it coming. But with the lower end guys that are just starting, anything goes. And I like that because it's chopped rhythm. You know what I mean? So I was just telling them tonight, just keep coming, work on that rhythm, and I'm gonna need all the support I can get for this next one.
It's definitely important. Like, we have a whole group of guys, up and coming amateurs, and it's that same thing. Like, they work hard, and when they're in there with you, they kind of have that nerve and that they're kind of on their toes.
Like
so sometimes they're fighting out of fear, or they're kind of antsy.
Absolutely.
It gets a little. They throw weird angles, or they just get aggressive on you. So it definitely helps, and having a good team of guys like that is very important.
Do you guys, Joe? Do you guys spar hard, or how do you guys usually spar?
We always mix it up. It's depending on the way my coach has the schedule planned. A lot of time it's that technical play style, but a lot of times we put our headgear on and we definitely go at it.
Is that for boxing or kickboxing that you go?
We'll mix it up. Mix it up. Like, we have that written whole, be careful to the head, attack the body. We go out there trying to stop each other with body punches and leg kicks. Like, if you can stop your training partner with a body punch or a low kick, we go for it, right? Okay. But we take it easy on the head sometimes, but sometimes we just go. I think it's important to get that, because you can spar those light rounds for hours, but once you pick up the pace, it's a totally different type of sparring match. So we definitely play around with both.
Do you cool it closer to fights?
Definitely, sometimes. Usually closer to fights, we're able to maybe go a little harder with the boxing and less on the low kicks and stuff like that. So it changes depending on where we are.
The ego gets in the way, right? You take that one shot, you gotta get back.
It picks up. It picks up. There's times where Troy and I and another guy in our team, one of my other main training partners, Matt Special, like, we'll end the round and we won't even look at each other. We'll just go back to the corner because next round it's gonna get crazy. So I can't let those guys land that low kick it's competitive, and that's fun. That's the whole fun of it.
That's what. Go ahead, Liam. I'm sorry.
I think that's exactly what Owen was saying. Yeah, it's that atmosphere that's created by having a few guys. It's like strongest. It's like those. It's like that thing I sent you about sharks. These two guys. So there was this thing I saw online, and baby sharks, when they're in the womb, what they do is
they eat each other.
There'll be like 4 of them, but only one can live, so it's got to eat the other one. So
get out of here.
Only the strongest one will survive. That's what it's like.
Oh, that's crazy. I just think that there's got to be something like in unspoken things, something in the air, that there's got to be a competitive thing with two guys in a gym that drive each other.
Think about this too. For anyone who's been to Thailand, how many gyms do you see that have one fighter?
Right.
None. Yeah. Because they got to have the other guys there. You don't have a team. You don't have anything. I feel like even like what you were saying before, Ognjen, like beginners sparring, not just sparring, but just being in a gym where the energy and everyone is going hard. Yeah. That has an effect. I feel like if you're in there and I feel like if you're the one superstar in a gym, and nobody's really going that hard, and it gets like an ego trip kind of, I think you suffer because you don't have anybody keeping you on the grindstone. You know?
Yeah. Except unless you're Gabe Varga. You're alone in a dark room somewhere just getting ready to beat somebody up.
Yeah. What has he fought recently? I haven't seen him pop up anywhere.
He beat Lurtzilla last year, but other than that, and I think I don't think he has a gym.
He actually just fought in Tokyo for Glory. He was part of their Glory tournament in Tokyo, and he won his first match by decision, and then he lost the second fight to the tournament winner. It was a good showing. He seemed to do really well, very aggressive. So it looks like he's going into the direction of more kickboxing. But he looked good. He looked in his Glory debut.
He's been one of my favorite fighters forever. Just his pros because he's so clean and he's so sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very.
Yeah, if you look back at the Glory Tokyo, he was in their tournament there, and like a few weeks ago.
So I wanted the other part I was curious about asking you guys is between K1 and Full Rules Muay Thai. I actually just did my taxes, right? So I kept all my expenses for the year because as a pro fighter now I can write off training expenses, all these expenses. So I kept as many receipts as I could. I'm sure I missed a few, but it came out in the end between when I took in all the things I spent and how much money I made, I'm in the hole for $600.
Wow.
So yeah, obviously nobody's in it for the money. But
did you have 5 fights too?
4. Yeah.
4 fights in a year, and you came out $600 in the hole.
600 in the hole, but. It's like, how does anybody plan on? You can't make a career out of it. Obviously, you gotta love it. But yeah, it doesn't make sense sometimes. Do you think that's holding guys back as well, Joe? Or do you think that's a matter of getting more, butts in the seats?
It's difficult, right? Like I still work a full-time job. Like for example, today I just worked an 8-hour teaching day. My stuff was packed. I drove an hour to training. I think I slept in my car for 15 minutes before I had a 3-hour training session with my coach. So it's not easy, right? And it's you have to do a full-time job as well if you want to have a comfortable living. So hopefully the sport picks up. I'm a big believer in unless we get Muay Thai or kickboxing on television and it starts growing that way, and athletes can start getting sponsorships, and because I know a lot with MMA and I work with a lot of MMA guys as well, it's the sponsorships that really help them out through their training. So hopefully when the sport grows bigger and we get that national television and more TV, we can start getting more sponsorships that'll help us through that time. So hopefully one day, good kickboxing and Muay Thai athletes will be able to do it full time.
Yeah, I think Lion Fight seems to be doing well with the TV deal with the AXS channel. I'd actually like to see the numbers for that, just to see where it is now from when they first started. That would be pretty cool. But I think they're doing actually well.
What's gotta suck though with the guys in Glory, the European fighters, and this is just an assumption. Joe, you'd probably know better than I would. Are the guys that you're fighting, are they generally full-time professional fighters without day jobs kind of thing?
Yeah, most of them are full-time guys. They seem to be doing more because I think they have a lot of TV deals in Europe, so they're getting a lot more sponsorship and stuff like that. Like I recently saw an ad. A lot of these kickboxing guys in Europe are sponsored by Adidas, and because Adidas has a whole boxing line in Europe, so a lot of these guys are sponsored by Adidas and big sponsorship, so most of them are able to do it full time, and I'm guessing maybe it's because of the more TV exposure and more people are willing to sponsor.
Yeah, I know. When I go to Serbia, I mean, I feel like I'm in heaven when I'm watching the TV because they have the Eurosport channel, and they're constantly throwing out K1 fights and boxing matches. So I mean, it's cool, It's a known sport,
That's right.
Yeah, same way in Ireland too. Eurosport has the cool. I'd find sumo wrestling at 2 a.m. and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
It'll catch on, but and this is the big thing that we, it's like, oh, the promoter's got to put more money into it. And then we talk to promoters, they're like, yeah, nobody comes. Like, we need money.
Yeah. I think it's gonna come down to the job of the fighters, and let's say like the article that I mentioned as far as the journalism goes. Guys like Liam Tarrant. Sean Fagan that's doing Owen bonus.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? You guys are going to get the word out. That's basically the marketing, using Facebook, Twitter, the social media. So, I mean, I think that should help out a lot.
But I could see that same thing with the fighters, right? It's kind of hard it's a lot of work to probably do all this media and these websites and getting all these articles. So, and it's a lot of output with no return. So it's got to be difficult on all those media people. And, we're just fortunate enough for the guys like Liam and Muay Thai Authority and Sean that they're actually, passionate about the sport and they're willing to do it. To help the sport grow. And I think that's really important. You need passionate people who are in the media spotlight and helping us fighters get that little bit of recognition and spotlight.
The thing that sucks is that I've been to all kinds of sporting events. Like I've mentioned this before. I was at the World Series in '96 when the Yankees won Game 6 of the World Series. And still, the Muay Thai events, Liam's last fight and the fight when you won your WBC belt, are the most exciting sporting events I've ever been to.
You've never been to a soccer game in Europe, then?
You can have it. I'm just telling you.
Those are the best fans.
Dude, ring sports are the most exciting events, and something like kickboxing, Muay Thai, you're seeing a guy use all his weapons. I mean, I was 10 feet from watching Joe fight Sean Yarborough. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very, very exciting. I think an important thing to do to promote the sport, invite a friend.
Yeah.
Bring a friend to see a show with you.
Right.
Or now that Lion Fights is playing, go to a local bar. It's free on TV anyway. Because when we went to watch your fight, Ognjen, the last one, we went to the bar. We had them put it on different TVs, and you'd see 2 or 3 or 4 people being like, "Whoa, what is this?" Yeah. And they check it. It catches people. All you gotta do is put it in front of people. But now that it's there, maybe we'll start seeing that.
I think it's like that. Still that mentality, man, from like the early '90s, late '80s when karate was getting big and they see these guys with these like white pants, people, I feel like people think that's corny. And when they hear kickboxing or Muay Thai kickboxing, they automatically go back to that era. And they picture those guys with the big pants
and the booties.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I had coworkers, man. I had coworkers for the first time that, I keep telling them about my fights and I'm fighting this person, and there was just no film and no tape really to show what I do. Yeah. So after people saw my last fight in Turkey, they were like, I had no idea what you did. I thought you had pants, headgear. They're like, where's your headgear, man? I thought you're still wearing headgear and wear the kick boots and the long pants. I mean? So people don't know, right? They're just starting to learn about it.
Yeah, they think it's funny.
I'll tell you what's funny is when people don't give you the appropriate response. You're like, I do Muay Thai, and they're like, is that kung fu kind of thing? And you're like, no, it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
But I feel like as Muay Thai is in the U.S., we're trying to get it up. It's gotta follow MMA. So MMA gyms. People say MMA is big, but one person's success is not the exclusion of everybody else's. That kind of thing. Look at Dwayne Ludwig and Mark Beecher. They're coaches, the MMA guys. Now they're known like Phil Nurse. Why do a lot of people know his name from that MMA exposure? Mm-hmm. So Joe, you said you trained with a lot of MMA guys. There's a lot of that happen. Do you see a lot of those guys rotating through, and is your gym prospering because of that?
Most of the MMA guys I trained were old friends. I grew up with a lot of Canadian MMA guys, so they came to me after, and they're like, wow, man, your stand-up's incredible. They had no clue. So I kind of came in once, the guy that I trained with, Antonio Carvalho, I kind of came in for the first time and sparred with them because they had no clue. The whole MMA world, even in Ontario, had no idea about these kickboxers and how good we were. So I had to actually go in and really, put a hurting on some of these MMA guys to kind of be like, we're specialists, man. We can really help you guys out. So they're starting to see the benefits of kickboxing for MMA. So that's been helping a little bit, but still the MMA market is huge in Canada. And they were saying the market in Canada for fighting is one of the biggest markets in the world. So we had a UFC event here in our big, it was Rogers, I don't know, I think it was our Air Canada Center here, and it had 53,000 people. It was massive. That's crazy. It's one of the biggest markets for fighting sports. So again, if MMA can do it, I'm just hoping for the right time where kickboxing can make its mark and grow here as well.
Wait, now that's in the same area you were talking about before where pro Muay Thai is illegal?
Yeah, same area. They just legalized pro MMA, so we're still waiting to have pro kickboxing MMA.
Yeah, see,
Muay Thai.
It's so weird. Muay Thai got legal. It was legalized before MMA in New York, right?
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it
it's
was, yeah.
completely opposite in Canada.
Just not full rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there kickboxing shows in Canada?
They had like the traditional kickboxing that's sanctioned, but not nothing with low kicks, nothing like that. All kicking above the waist, traditional style kickboxing.
The
Um,
Superfoot Bill Wallace days.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about
Troy
that.
actually fought a pro kickboxing in Ontario, and it was you have to wear pants, kick above the waist, you have to wear the foot guards. He fought, I think it was last year. He took a fight, pro kickboxing, and it just wasn't the same. It totally threw him off, not being able to land those nice low kicks and knees. So it was difficult.
Was he able to win the fight?
That one he wasn't able to win. He fought actually a really good kickboxer who's now one of Canada's top MMA guys. He's actually Shane Campbell's actually fighting this guy in an MMA fight soon. So seeing guys like even in Canada, Shane Campbell, he's gone to MMA now, and a lot of the Canadian kickboxers are all moving to MMA.
How did you manage to get your foot in the door with Justin and Friday Night Fights?
I would say when I fought in that tournament in IKF for my last amateur, I met someone that kind of said, "Hey, I know someone in New York that can get you fights," because we're kind of trying to ask people if they can get us pro fights, because at that point I've been training. I was amateur fighting for 4 or 5 years, and it was just my time to get pro. And I kind of made a highlight, and Justin Blair kind of said, "Yeah, sure, we'll bring you in." And that's when I've sent out emails many times all over, and with the help of this person I met and the highlight, I think Justin just gave me that opportunity to come in.
And that's when the body started hitting the floor.
Yeah, that was first time. Was actually, I remember my first fight there was against Max Chen, and it was at the Armory, and I remember seeing Sean Hines and Romulo fighting in that main event, and I was like, man, I want to fight those guys soon, and it was really motivating for me to see that, and I never got to see that here in Canada.
Yeah, Liam, you fought on that card. You fought Kyle Hillman on that card.
Yeah, I fought on that
I
card
remember
too.
that.
Yeah.
That was a big big show.
Yeah, it was nice.
That was a cool venue too.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really echoey, but it was super cool. A lot of people in the atmosphere, and it was awesome. It was a really cool event.
Is that the Armory, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what really got your name pretty much out there on all the social media sites, was the performances you were having on Friday Night Fights.
Yeah, it was definitely Friday Night Fights was a big. It was good for me because it was a steady place to continue to fight with a good promotion. Justin Blair was always awesome at putting on a lot of shows. So it was able to get me active, keep me there, and build a nice little group of friends and supporters, and get me comfortable in one area. So that's where I kind of felt that hometown feeling from always being there. It was six fights with Friday Night Fights.
And you did that in how many years? 2?
I believe in 2. Yeah, 2 years.
So did that strength and conditioning that we kind of talked about before, did that become a factor for you fighting comparatively much more frequently than your amateur career?
Yeah, before we were on the air, we were Ognjen and Joe were spitting back and forth with strength and conditioning plan. So can you guys give people an idea of what you do? We were talking to Joe about his Olympic lifting, because there's some videos on YouTube of you doing deadlifts and lifting. I think it was the weight of about 3 cars. I don't know, was I wrong on that?
Yeah, but they're Volkswagens, but still, I mean, it's impressive.
Oh wait, Volkswagens? Come on.
Yeah, I kept it light for the video too. I didn't want to show all my strength, So
He just doesn't like Germans. So yeah,
but it's something that I don't see people using enough. Like, I have a phys ed background, and my whole type of training, I'm a big believer in using science. So I've always been a big believer in strength and conditioning, and I think a lot of people misinterpret what actually strength and conditioning is. A lot of people group it together where it's actually 2 separate things. There's a strength component, and then there's that conditioning component. And a lot of people just mix them together. So I have a really awesome coach by the name of Costa Cladianos with lots of experience. And I've been working strength and conditioning with him for about, I would say, 4 or 5 years now, since my amateur, the beginning of I think late amateur career. So he was really able to build me up, and and he has everything planned out scientifically. We go through different phases in training, and yeah, I think it's people who aren't doing it should kind of explore that whole side of things, because I see a huge benefit in it.
Unless you're my next opponent.
That's right.
Dude, that guy's doing strength and conditioning. He's jacked. That guy's D's. Did you want to speak on your strength and conditioning?
Oh yeah. Before I started working out with the the explosive movements and things like that, working with kettlebells, I was just doing pad work 5 days a week, and my trainer, he's the same, has the same mentality as you, Joe. And he just told me that, we got to start putting in some weights in there. First, I was skeptical because I was doing 5 days a week of pad work, and I was like, nah, man, I can't just like stop doing pad work like that. It's mentally, it was like scaring me. And then I just said, you know what? Let me just try it out, see what happens in this next fight, see how I feel. And we did that. We cut down the pad work to 3 days a week. Started doing
KBs.
the kettlebells 2 days a week. And it was like a massive improvement, and it just made no sense to me because I stopped doing pad work twice a day. You know what I mean? I just exchanged it, and it was a massive improvement. I felt so much better in the ring. So.
See, what I think too is that it's an important part, but unless you have the proper technique,
Yeah,
so that's where I think
yeah.
proper my coach Paul Minas at Ultimate Martial Arts, he is a technician, and without the proper technique, you really can't. You need that technique first, I believe, to be able to generate that power using your full body, using your calves, turning over your kicks. And I think that's important. But if you can incorporate and add strength and that proper technique, that's where you're going to get that crazy optimal power, right?
Yep.
I feel actually kind of bad for people coming out, because the problem now, I feel like, is not that there's not the right information out there, it's that there's too much information. Everyone's an expert on the internet, and everybody's got all the plans to use, but very few of them have proven results. And it's frustrating seeing guys like our Cruz, Joe Boomalog and Ray Cruz. They understand the science behind it, and Joe, it sounds like your people obviously do as well. But it's like guys coming into the game, I see guys on the internet, and they're doing like every CrossFit and Muay Thai and this and that and running, and it's like,
and on top of that, they're on the paleo diet, no carbs.
yeah. And if you want to be good at Muay Thai, you've got to do Muay Thai. I don't care how strong you get. If you don't have the technique end of it, it's not going to be there.
There's definitely a lot of bro science out there.
I think with these guys, what I thought, both of them kind of said that their choice in strength conditioning complemented their technique.
Yeah.
I guess it's really, if it's going to be effective, it's got to go hand in hand. Like, I don't deadlift. I saw you deadlifting. I never had the technique for squats. It always ended up hurting my back. But like kettlebells, personally, I find them to be just incredible functional strength.
Yeah.
Perfect for a sport like Muay Thai.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, do you do any kind of unconventional training methods?
No, it's more. I'm more a big believer in the strength exercises, but again, everything has its place. My coach really mixes up. The way we look at our strength and conditioning is more of we do phase work. So right after fights, we go into a heavy strength phase. Then closer to the fight, we add more explosive lifts. And just before the fight, it's more of explosive training. So we do more of a phase work kind of training program that I'm on. So everything is done in phases. So depending where I am in my camp, it depends on what exercises, how fast I'm doing them, and what sets and the number of reps I'm doing. So everything's in phases.
Is it really important to you to have people guide you?
I have a big background in health. Like I said, I have a phys ed degree, and I'm always online looking, researching, and learning myself. But when it comes to my type of training, I need someone that just tells me what to do. I like that, where I don't have to overthink. I have two amazing people that really help me. My coach, my Muay Thai coach, and whatever he says, man, I believe in that guy. He's the master, and I just follow along. And I think that's really important to have. Same thing. You need to believe in your coaches, and that's huge, right? You need to believe in them, and they need to believe in you. Because if you second guess your coach, you're never going to get that real learning. And I think that's where in martial arts you always have your master, and you always have to look up to those people as the I know everything type of person.
Joe, do you think it's a dangerous thing if the sport were to grow too fast, and now you've got everybody and their brother opening a Muay Thai gym, and now you've got, I feel bad for people who are unprepared going into their fights because their coach just wasn't ready to start coaching fighters. Do you get much of that in Canada? I know everybody has seen it. Everybody who's been around Muay Thai has seen that kind of thing happen. Have you seen that happen much?
There's a lot of it. I know a lot of people are always coming up to me and saying, I want to fight. And they've never even done one Muay Thai class yet, but they already want to fight. And it's kind of like there's some gyms where, I hear of guys getting into the ring after a month of training.
Yeah.
I think I have 10 years of Taekwondo before I even got into Muay Thai, and my coach still made me wait, I think 2.5, 3 years before I even got into the ring.
Right.
And that's the mentality we take here. It's like you really have to have good technique and strong basics before you can go into the ring. And I think that's why you see a lot of good camps that the guys that do fight always have good winning records and strong basics and foundations because their coach is constantly drilling it with them. So you can really see when you go to events, teams that have really good and strong coaches and basics.
Joe, what would your advice be to somebody who's looking for a Muay Thai gym? For all you guys in the room, what do you guys think should be the main thing someone should look out for, to go towards, and to avoid?
I would say if you walk into a gym and you see people wearing projects and belts and things like that on top of their shorts, that's a sure sign of a failure right there.
Something's fugazi.
Yeah, that would be the McDojos. No, but to be serious, it would be tough, because somebody that doesn't know the sport doesn't know what they're looking for. So like you were saying, it's kind of like a negative thing when somebody just walks in and they're like, yeah, I'm down, I want to train, I want to fight, and then they just throw them in the den with the lions and they get their nose broken or something like that. So I mean, I don't know. I really don't have like an answer. I mean, I can tell somebody right now, but they still won't get it. You know what I mean?
Part of it's just a learning experience.
I would say it's a learning experience, and I guess just talk with the trainers, talk with the coaches when you first approach them in the gym. See how they are as human beings and people. Are they saying like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, we'll get you a fight in 2 months, this and that. I mean, that's something you got to look out for. In our gym, you have to be with us for at least a year, and then a year and some change until they see.
And then maybe. Right,
maybe, because it's not only your life on the line, they want to protect you, but it's gym's name.
Yeah.
We don't want to be just throwing anybody in there that's gonna lose and not look good, because we already have a established brand for us.
And you get taken in too. You get taken inside. The confidences of our crews that everyone looks up to and respects, and they're just if they're gonna put that time in with you, they want to get to know you and see what type of dude you are, which I think is good.
I do think loyalty is a little underrated these days.
Absolutely.
What Joe was saying I thought was so interesting about having have that faith in your coach. I mean, you guys, you're all professional athletes, but still, I know how you guys feel, and Joe just said how he feels. Like, I think that's what is so important for fighters. Yes, it's you guys performing alone, but what gets you there and what the game plan, and you're trusting in someone to put you on the right path. And you look at great fighters like Anderson Silva when he was without a coach.
Right.
He was not what he is now, and when he is being coached.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the actual person, on the fighter. I mean, I don't know. I guess coaches do have something to do with it. If they don't prepare you well enough for the fight and you lose, and then you get mad at your coaches and you're like, man, I'm out of here. Instead of like sitting down and coming up with like a better game plan, talking to your coaches, saying, hey, look, man, I don't think this worked. This might work. Can we try this out for next time? And nobody knows me better than my coaches. I mean, they've known me for 8-9 years. If I have a problem with them, I would sit down and talk to them, and we would get down to it. There's no reason for you to jump ship and go to another gym, because that's another sure way of becoming a failure and losing more fights.
Yeah, and you're as a coach too. It's whatever they've learned and developed. It's sacred to them. And they take that really, the knowledge they share is something that they've taken many years to develop. And I think just learning and, leaving, it's showing disrespect. And there's always that whole debate of, as a person, like I like to look at myself more as a martial artist rather than a fighter. I feel that it's something I'm in a lifetime journey of learning, and having that coach that can continually keep you learning is really important. It's
Right.
not like people have seen me throw a swing kick and they're like, oh man, that's the best thing I've seen, where my coach is continually, no, I want you to change this to the, half an inch to the millimeter. He wants things perfect. So I think it's important to have that person. You have to kind of match your coach's style as well. So my coach is a really big perfectionist, and same with me. So our styles really work together.
Right.
I think that's interesting. You have to be willing to listen and be humble enough to learn from a coach to become a champion. It's like Floyd has Roger,
Right.
and who's more confident or full of himself? No offense, Augie, I know how you feel. But then Floyd. But
Right.
he's still even willing to listen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's interesting that Joe just brought that up about being perfectionist, because those are the qualities of a successful person, no matter what field you're talking about. Whether you're an athlete or some sort of businessman, those are the qualities. Being a perfectionist and always almost doubting yourself. That's what I do. Before, I thought it was a very big flaw. And I spoke to another friend of mine, which is a young entrepreneur, and he's doing well. And him and I are two people. I mean, I almost feel like he's my brother that I never had. I mean, he said he's the exact same way. He was always constantly doubting himself, looking up to bigger companies, just like I look up to bigger, the better fighters that are up there that have had 300 fights, 400 fights, and I base my technique off their technique. And it's not possible, but the fact that I'm doing that makes me better, and it's interesting that Joe brought that up, because we're a detail oriented, at our gym, and it's like the smallest little things we're talking about, like down to like centimeters and inches, and it's like crazy when you think about it. But this is what these are the qualities of a successful fighter.
And I think it's important. I know we talked before about that whole, how can someone like myself and as well as yourself, Topic, that how we can get in the ring with guys with 100 fights and still feel confident. And I think that comes down to our coaching, and our coaches have us continually learning. I know as soon as I'm done a fight, it's something where I could just win by knockout right away in the first round, and my coach already right off the bat was saying, "Listen, it was good, but listen, this is what it's got to be."
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's realistic, and a lot of times, I sometimes I could take that personal, but that's what he's here for. We're here to be perfect, and as soon as I'm back, the next day he has me in the gym learning, adding new things to my game, and that's why I feel confident going against guys like Murat, who had 90 fights, and it's my coach continually having me learning in the gym. So I think that's important as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, both yourself, Joe, and Ognjen have taken on the hardest competition that you can. Do you think having that perspective on seeing the top and going for that changes your approach to it? Versus a guy who just takes fights to build up his record, say, because there's fights out there sometimes. You go, how did this mismatch get made up?
Yeah, a lot of trainers feed their fighters with false confidence, and those are the fights where somebody has like 10 professional fights, and they put someone in just going into a fight for the first time as a pro, and they end up getting beat up, and the other guy with the 10 fights just gain some confidence, but it's false, because this guy's, he's nothing for him, for his level. So yeah, I like for me, it's always a challenge, and I want to challenge myself continuously, and I want to fight the best fighters out there. I don't know, I just get something out of that. I mean, it sounds strange. I mean, I'm putting my life on the line, fighting these guys with 160 fights, but I don't know, there's just something in that I can't explain.
It's having that confidence to do that, right? And I think that's believing in yourself, believing in your team, right? If you didn't have people around you and your coaches believing in you, I think it would be a lot harder. But the fact that we believe in ourselves and everyone around us believes in us, we're willing to take those big steps and those big jumps in our career.
Right. Yeah, and I might be down on myself throughout the training camp. Oh, I'm not doing this good enough. I'm not doing this good enough. But then as soon as I step foot in that ring, man, I'm a whole different person. I'm like, I'm on, you know. I'm the most confident person out there, you know, and it's completely different. And there's no, I just can't explain that feeling.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys what you think for the next 2 years, 3 years. Where do you guys see the Muay Thai scene going? Not where you hope it will go, but looking at where it is now, where it was 2 years ago, what do you guys see in 2 years?
I definitely see it growing. I think in the last even 2 years, there's been a big growth. I think there's going to be, again, with more TV, I think we're going to actually be able to get a lot more TV time for people to be exposed to the sport. For myself, I am excited that Glory is wanting to bring the fights to North America. And I think that's what really excites me is that we have a promotion that is doing well and has a lot of international experience, and that they're putting on these big shows in Europe, that they're wanting to come into the North American market. So I think, with Glory doing, having these big events coming up, and I think kickboxing is going to do well. I think, again, Lion Fight with that TV deal, it's only going to get better. And I think I'm a big believer in we need to get it on TV to get more people to see how amazing the sport is.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think with the ability of TV and social media, there's a lot more bloggers now. I think that'll bring it up too. Hopefully the bigger companies such as Adidas, Nike, they'll start seeing the gold in the sport, and they'll start sponsoring these fighters. AXS TV, they're doing a great job with it. Hopefully some of these other stations will jump ship and say, you know what, we might give this a try as well and see how it does.
I'm just as hopeful as you guys are. Pretty much just piggybacking on what you guys said. The TV deals are what's really important, and I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I think that's what everybody's looking for, is that one solution that's going to get everybody to start flocking to Muay Thai like they do to boxing or like they do to MMA. And for me, it's just experiencing the sport. The more people that get a chance to see it, the more people, maybe they'll go to the next show. Maybe they'll go see, you in Vegas, or they'll go see Joe in New York, and they'll become fans for life, because that's all it takes. You see that one great show, and then, that's it. Right. That you're going to be into that. Like, I don't football on Sundays, whatever, man. I care less. Right.
I was also speaking to Liam earlier, just talking about that. People aren't as stupid as some of us think, as far as in our sport goes. People know quality. So if they see, if they're going out to New York or wherever we are in Las Vegas, and they're seeing a Muay Thai fight for the first time, and they see a sloppy mess in the ring, they're probably not going to go back again.
Right,
so
yeah.
The quality of the fighters has to go up. People know quality. When they see somebody that has very clean technique and is able to take somebody out with all these sharp punches, kicks, this and that, people like that, and they want to see like a chess match almost in the ring. So I think the quality of the fighters needs to go up as well in America and Canada and the surrounding countries around here, in order for Muay Thai to prosper.
How important do you guys think it is to have referees and judges trained in the proper art, in the proper style of how to score a Muay Thai fight?
It's obviously really important, and I think in Muay Thai there's always that the questioning of the rule system, but it's important, right? It's something where you really need that good referee to be able to make these fights, fair and having the right person win. Because at the end of the day, as an athlete in any sport, you put in so much time, so much effort, and as you were saying, it's a lot financially. And to be able to, put all this effort in and not get the outcome based on, someone not being educated on the rules is really, it's heartbreaking, right? So it's something that's important to keep the integrity of the sport.
I saw a fight recently, and it was like both guys were coming in. The decision went, I didn't think the decision was right, but both guys were hitting. Both guys were coming forward. Yes, both people were landing, but one guy was landing at will, and he was setting the timing, and he was setting the pace, and he controlled the clinch. So, but that didn't seem to score anything. I was like, how did that go that direction?
Yeah, more kicks and knees were landed. as opposed to punches, you know. But that's where I wanna go with this. There should be a separation between kickboxing style rules and then traditional Muay Thai, where you know, kicks are scored more, knees are scored more, and punches are kind of like last thing, you know. And people and fighters should know that, because they're going in there fighting, but these rules are completely different, and then, you know, they get hit with a unanimous decision to the other guy, where they, you know, they fought their heart outs, and they clearly landed more Muay Thai techniques, the kicks and the knees and things like that. So yeah, I think there should be a separation between the two sports, because at the end of the day, they are kind of separate.
It's important to whatever like if you're scoring a kickboxing fight, if you're scoring a Muay Thai fight, you should know something about the sport. You should have trained, you should have competed, or something. Because I'll give you a perfect example. Joe's last fight in the first round, dude was throwing a lot of hands at him, and Joe covered up a lot. Not much got through. But if you're some bozo that doesn't know anything about the sport, you're going, oh, that guy punched more.
Yep.
But so what? It didn't. Nothing happened. You know what I mean? And it's important that you're not some idiot that just sees that and assumes that the guy is winning the round when that's not really what's happening.
I totally agree with you. Your fight name, Bazooka.
Awesome.
What is that?
The fight name came early in my fight career. I was just an amateur training, and one of the guys when I actually started training Muay Thai, I was 220 pounds. So I was a big boy, and everything I threw was just, I had a lot of power. And then the guy teaching the class was like, man, you throw everything like a bazooka. So from that day on, people just kept it going, and it's stuck with me this time.
I thought it was a cartoon.
I thought it was because you just chewed a lot of gum.
No. See, that's where it is. You know, I want to look mean. It's not. I'm not that character, right?
Yeah.
So
it's still cool.
It's cool. It's people. Some people like it. Some people don't. And but I think it's cool. It's got a cool sound to it, cool ring to it. And it's stuck with me, so it's been pretty cool to have.
Our buddy Jeff Catenacci, Italian dude, fighter from our gym, we were standing next to each other when you were coming out to fight. This was a couple of years ago, and he saw the Italian flag on your shorts. He's like, "This guy's great." I'm like, "I know. Have you seen him fight?" He goes, "No."
There's a lot of Italians in New York, right? There's a lot of Italians in New York. I love
That's
it.
funny.
Yeah, he was all about it.
Do you have a nickname?
No, man, I never got into that.
The Serbian sensation.
The assassin. Yeah, people joke around at the gym, but I don't know. It's just not for me. I'm not really into that.
Same thing with me. I just never picked one up. I don't know.
It's got to come organically. Like if it's dumb, like Bazooka Joe is cool. Like that's either cartoon character. You hit with, you got knockout power. That's perfect. But like you can't just force something like the Crippler. I'm like, oh,
I could have been T-Bone, Liam T-Bone Tarrant.
That was George Costanza's nickname.
Damn straight. Don't you go calling me Coco. Don't get it twisted, son.
There was some guy that this guy we had at our gym, he was a boxer. His name is Jerome Amato. He lost a fight to this dude who just killed people with body shots, and his nickname was the Body Snatcher.
Who's that?
That's a great name.
Some guy he fought in the amateur ranks. It's like a kind of an upcoming pro now, I guess.
Okay.
The Body Snatcher. That's great.
What's for all you guys? What's the craziest thing you've ever seen backstage at a fight going on?
Well, looking around, I just see people doing these crazy techniques like that will never work. You know what I mean? Just like from like we were talking about before, from these McDojo gyms that know nothing about the sport and don't know what they're doing. You know, they're just putting out these poor guys to fight.
The heavy metal. I've heard the heavy metal, and you're like, what are you?
Oh, right. The screaming and stuff.
Yeah.
Getting pumped up. I don't know. I don't understand that mentality at all, man. I really don't. I don't get it. How do you get pumped up like that? Are you like that, Joe?
No. I
just
don't
get
listen to
it,
music
man.
at all.
Yeah.
I don't listen to any music. As soon as I hit the zone,
right.
And it's about an hour before fight time, there's no music at all. It's just in the zone, focusing. You know what they say? Like they say with music too. Like if there's a song that you have like an emotional attachment to or something, it can actually get I find it can get my heart rate elevated.
Yeah.
And at that point, I just want to keep calm and keep focused.
Absolutely.
So I find like maybe just before my raps or even when I'm getting wrapped up, I don't mind a little bit. But when it's time to warm up, I can't listen to music.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to somebody that that's in backstage, like screaming and yelling and stuff. You know what I'm talking about, like doing these crazy chants and stuff right before getting out of the fight. I just don't get that.
Randy Couture had this great line in A Fighter's Mind, and he was talking about his approach to fights, right, in wrestling and everything else. And he was saying how, this is not an emotional thing. This is not an emotional conflict. This is a technical problem to be solved. When I see a guy in front of me, it's a technical issue. I need to figure out the right keys to get in there and figure it out. So there's no point in getting emotional.
Right.
I was the same way. I never get mad. I'm not sitting there in the back room like punching walls and stuff. I'm just kind of chilling, trying to conserve my energy.
Yeah.
I've always seen those guys. I always thought it was a little odd that the people who like to get like slapped by their coaches and slapped on the back and in the face.
Right.
And I'd probably look at my coach and be like, "Why are you hitting me? Like I don't understand what you just hit me for," kind of thing. I find that a little weird. Some people may need it to wake themselves up, but I don't know. I've always found that really weird.
This is my favorite backstage story was Joe Frazier before I think the last fight with Ali. He had his dressing room was packed. It was like a really festive mood, and he was kind of like not saying much. And then they were like, "All right, champ, couple more minutes, you're coming out." And he just kind of stood up and was like, "Everybody get the f*** out." And everyone was like, "All right, take it easy." Like, he was like, now it's time. Like, this is cool that we're all excited about this, but now it's time.
What, he just wanted alone time?
Yep, he just wanted to be by himself.
Here's a little shout out. Here's a little shout out to all the fighters who get called on fight day. Dude, you got any tickets left?
Oh man, your cell phone blowing up like when you're trying to just rest and keep your mind on the fight.
And you can't get mad because they're your supporters. They're coming out to see you, and it's all love. But then you're like, dude, I'm getting ready for this fight. Come on, man.
I did that to you.
Everybody does that.
I came over to your house once when you were still at your mom and dad's.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And
yeah,
but you know what?
I was sunbathing, right?
Yeah, you didn't have a shirt on, and you came out with the tickets, and I was like, it was a big fight. I can't remember who it was, but it was a big fight. And you were like, I was like, all right, thanks, man. And you're like, were you not hanging? Like, no, aren't you? Do you have stuff to think? Like, aren't you focused or?
I don't know, man. I don't make a big deal out of it. It is what it is. You put in all the work. It's normal. You're gonna be nervous no matter what. There's gonna be fear involved, but fear is a good thing anyway. It's a good emotion to have if you know how to control it. Uncontrolled fear is a useless emotion, but if you know how to control it, then it's a great thing to have.
That's the most impressive thing to me about this sport is that is the focus it takes fighters to just let that fear simmer to a certain point and let that adrenaline get to a certain point and not let it take over and not let it make decisions for you.
Right.
I think that makes it different than any other. I mean, boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, whatever, like combat sports makes it different than any other sport. I mean, like including football. You know what I mean? Like you're in a very dangerous, very stressful situation and you're still able to have a clear head and get off these techniques,
Yeah, quick question for Joe and Liam. For me now, I don't know if this is gonna be the same, but for me now when I fight, there isn't as much adrenaline involved in the fight. It's like I'm able to think more, and it's so much easier. I see everything that's coming. Well, hopefully I'll be able to see everything that's coming. But also then when you get hit, you feel more of it because you don't have that adrenaline. That's just like blinding your whole vision. People say like, oh, I don't even know what I just did in that ring. I know everything that I did, because it's not like blinding me in that way. How do you guys feel about that? Do you guys have the same kind of thing going on?
Why don't you go ahead, Joe?
I still have a little bit of both. I think as I've been getting more experience and more ring time, I'm getting more comfortable. I'm able to see and strategize and play a little more.
Right.
But I still have that really good adrenaline style. And again, same with my fight with Murat. He really didn't give me a chance to get really comfortable in there because the first thing he throws were, hooks and uppercuts right off the bat. So I really didn't have that chance to get comfortable. And if you watch the fight, it's only in the second round that I finally got comfortable. So that's when I got to, kind of strategize, pick them apart a little more. But yeah, it's definitely getting better. But I still have that. I still don't feel much. But I think getting smarter, getting more that ring experience is definitely helping out with me being able to be selective with my techniques and find those openings.
It's funny what you mentioned there, Joe, is you were able to strategize and pick them apart more. I feel the exact same. When I started listening more and stopped making it such an adrenaline dump, go out and like kill kind of thing, I could listen to my corner much better, and I could interpret things and just the techniques. It all just came together. I felt like when I stopped being as aggressive, and I learned how to apply that aggression. Then I could take instruction, I could understand, and I was more cognizant of what was going on, big picture wise, instead of just going combination to combination. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that too is a big difference between kickboxing and Muay Thai, because usually when you watch that traditional Muay Thai, those first two play out rounds, I think the fighters are actually you're getting comfortable in there, and that helps out. Whereas in a kickboxing, 3 rounds, 3 minutes, you don't really have time to sit there and play and be comfortable. It becomes more of that hard, fast, aggressive pace right off the get-go. So I think that's where the Muay Thai, even I guess having that experience with 5 rounds of Muay Thai, you really learn to develop that comfort in the ring. So that's just my opinion.
I think it's an amazing place where, what we're talking about, where you guys can go to mentally, because I mean, you think about like combat, that's the guy where the bombs are going off around you and everybody's scared and they go, no, get it together, fellas.
Yeah.
We're going this way.
Yeah.
It's something deep that's in human capabilities, and it'll probably stay with you for whatever situation you go to that's stressful. And
right.
I don't know, I just find it very, very impressive. It's very interesting.
I feel like that is part of the reason why people benefit so much from training. It doesn't matter if you get in there and fight. If you can get that mindset, even just sparring, if you're in a place that does it properly and no one's trying to take your head off, I feel like that kind of confidence, especially I teach a lot of kids programs, and the MuaythaiProject is all about teaching kids and trying to expand the sport that way.
And chicks.
It's a real reason behind all our efforts.
Sorry.
But I feel like that confidence you can get. You don't have to be a fighter to get that. You can obviously, being a fighter, you have to have it.
Right.
Fighting's not for everybody, but I think people can get that from just training, just from Muay Thai, and it could be from BJJ too. It could be from whatever. But if you want to talk fighting sports, it's Muay Thai. I mean, stand-up fighting sports. I think that heightens, and that makes you get that awareness so much faster because you have to. If you don't pick it up, it's just. You're not going to do...
I even find with training sometimes, like if you're really focused on round training, you end up thinking, when is the 30-second bell going to come? And a lot of times you lose focus, but sometimes when you just say, you know what, let's not even put a ring timer on and just go and just play at a nice pace, and you can spar. Like I've sparred with some of my guys for 30, 45 minutes straight sometimes, where you just get that pace and you just stay focused on, having that opponent in front of you and learning and picking part. And, we don't even talk. There's no talking, just 45 minutes straight sparring, no timers, no ring, ringing in the back. It's just 45 minutes of straight sparring. I think it's you hit a zone, you hit that comfort level where it's an amazing place to be at.
Yeah, you learn how to conserve your energy.
Yeah, and it's fun, right? And you're not focused on anything else but, just having fun and picking that person apart.
And that's having the right training partners again, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goes back to that.
That's actually how it's training with Muay Thai is such an important part of my general well-being, because that's actually what Joe was just talking about. That's my meditating for the week, because I'm not the type of person that can sit down and clear my head. But when I'm in a ring with someone, like if I'm looking across at you two, I'm not thinking about anything other than what could happen to me. So for an hour or so at the gym, my head is just empty. I'm working out, and I'm only thinking about what's right in front of me. So then when I leave, there's no baggage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it was Miyamoto Musashi. I think he called it empty mind when he's talking about his style in the Book of Five Rings. It was like no awareness, but ultimate awareness, like that whole balance of things.
Mm-hmm. Joe, I wanted to ask you a question. We spoke before that you and I are full-time fighters, and we're always at the gym. But there comes a certain time where you have to, kick up the intensity, and when you prepare for a fight. I want to ask you, how long is your training? How long? When do you start your training for a fight?
Like we said, I know you're like me as well. We train full time, and so I'm constantly in the gym. But I really find the last 6-7 weeks is my pickup intensity. So I would say on average 6 weeks, 7 weeks. If I haven't fought in a while, I'd probably move it to about 8 weeks. But you know, like for this camp here, I just came off that fight in Turkey, so I'm doing it 6 weeks. So my camp, my intense, hard, you know, training really started today with that focus, and everything has to do with this fight.
Right.
What about yourself?
We did before 4 weeks, but now we moved it up to 5 weeks. I actually wanted to do like 3.5, because I just noticed I end up burning up. You know, I don't know. I just go hard right from beginning. I don't really know how to, you know, because you're always in shape, but you're not in fight shape. You know, so when I first start, I'm like, oh man, I'm not in shape at all. And you're like, you know, 5 weeks away, you start getting nervous. So you just like kick up the intensity. And then 2 weeks afterwards, you're in like fight shape. Yeah, I'm in a little too good shape right now.
Now
you know,
what?
too early, and I'm more like burnt out. I don't want to train. I don't want to think about training. You just have to like mentally push through it.
My coaches and my team were really good at you know, making sure, like, a lot of people won't believe it, but I have 2 rest days a week, even in my intense training. I always take 2 rest days.
You lazy bastard.
What people have to understand is those rest days where your body is adapting.
Right.
If you don't give your body a rest day, it's continually getting broken down, and it needs that time to rebuild. And that's when you're getting stronger. That's when you're getting more explosive. That's when your conditioning is getting better.
You're absolutely right, man.
So, and it's important too as a coach in your team. Like I said, I have 6 weeks. I said 6 weeks, but during that 6 weeks, I'll take a mini break where I'll maybe take 3-4 days off of training, let my body heal, recover. So when I come back to training, you know, my body feels great. I have that energy up there. And everything feels amazing, because even during those last 6 weeks, you're starting to restrict your diet, because now you take into account making weight and cutting weight. So I always you know, have 1 or 2 mini breaks with even that 6 weeks.
What are the 2 days that you take off in the week?
I take a Friday and Sundays off.
That's so funny. We do the same thing.
And Friday's pizza night, right?
Yep.
No.
No, Fridays and Sundays, yeah.
Yeah, Fridays and Sundays. Do you still like run or anything, or you just completely rest?
No, I completely rest. Those days are complete rest days. Fridays, I still work, right? So even being at work is stressful on my body and mentally fatiguing. So I need that day of just nothing. And some days, there's some Sundays where I don't even leave my house, where I don't even want to leave, where I'm just so exhausted physically and mentally, where I just need time to be away from everyone and just to be able to, you know, recover, you know, mind, body, soul.
So a few girls in our gym wanted us to ask you, Joe, is there a special lady in your life?
Is there a special lady? Right now, no, there's no special lady.
There's some girls in Istanbul that are going to be disappointed to hear you say that.
But you know what? It's right now. It's about me and focusing on my career. So no, there's no special lady right now.
I have always felt that way, that Muay Thai is, at its base, it's a very selfish pursuit in a way, because if you're going to do it right, if you're going to be fighting at an elite level, your life has to be all about it. Your whole life has to be surrounded by it. Things have to work around it, and we've all been in situations, I think, where Muay Thai had to take priority over some things.
Yep.
Into relationship advice too. You know? In my past, I was in a long term, and you know what? It was really hard to give that person time. So right now, it's got to be about I'm reaching the top of my sport, and it has to be. You have to be a little bit selfish at this time.
I can't believe we just asked Joe a TMZ question.
We did, yeah.
I'm ashamed of
We're going there. We're going there.
Yeah, no one else answered that question. You guys put me on the spot here.
I didn't know what to say. You nailed it. You got it. There we go.
It was a very diplomatic answer.
We can cut that whole thing out if you think there's going to be someone giving you static over at the end of the day. We can cut that whole thing out.
No, I'm good.
I got nobody, and Sundays I don't leave my house.
I'm a complete loser.
That's hilarious.
Please date me.
That was a good interview, Joe. Thanks.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, man.
No, thank you guys. I didn't think I would be able to do it with my voice, man. When's
that Glory fight? In June, right?
June 22nd. You guys should try to make it out, man. Or even if you're down, try to hook up or something.
Yo, you got tickets, bro? You got tickets the night before, bro?
Yeah, you got to come the day before.
Yeah, give me that number. I'll text you on the 21st. Kind of late, though.
So that's what, Joe, you got going on. So the next time anyone's going to see you is June 22nd, New York City, Glory Tournament. Ognjen, what's your future looking like here?
July 26th, fighting Kog Chunawat and at the Line Fights promotion, which will also be aired on AXS TV.
Joe, do you have an opponent yet for the Glory, or is it a tournament setup?
No, it's a one fight. They're actually matching me with the Road to Glory winner, Francois Ambag.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a fight. That's going to be good.
Yeah. So it's I'm excited for that. I saw the highlights from his Road to Glory. He beat some good guys in that tournament. So dangerous opponent, but I'm excited and I'm confident and ready to do it.
That's excellent. Owen, you got anything coming up? Any gigs anywhere?
I don't know. Who cares? I don't know.
You guys want to do like an hour and a half on history, world history?
Yeah. I got to get up on that.
These guys started listening to this podcast called Hardcore History, and they're trying to get me on with it. But I love
I wrote it
stuff.
down last time. I wrote it down. I haven't had a chance to check
We're
it out.
history buffs over here.
Yeah, texting all day at work. I'm like, no, Genghis Khan did. So we'll just wrap it up. We got Joe. June 22nd?
June 22nd.
June 22nd.
Ballroom.
Hammerstein Ballroom. I saw De La Soul there. It's a great venue. And Augie, July 26th.
Yep.
Lion Fight, Las Vegas.
Yep.
Big things. Serious guys. It's going to be great.
So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please let me just give a quick shout-out to Sam and Aaron Valdez. They're big supporters of ours. They help us out. And Sam, your father wants you to clean your room. All right. Thanks everybody on the social media end too. We're just on Instagram. Check us out, MuaythaiProject. Check us out on Twitter at MuaythaiProject, and you can go to MuaythaiProject.org and check out our website. We're trying to spread the sport, and we are a charity organization. So also advertisers, we are looking for advertisers. Please get in touch. You can reach us at RadioMuayThai@gmail.com. And we got big things coming, so stay tuned. Thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
No need to fear, stride right and left. With your own bow and with your knees, now suck them hard with your soul and then kick out and on. You said judo, you said kung fu, you said karate. Forget them all, here's something real. Come learn it now and be proud that you were born a man. Thai boxing. Thai boxing. Thai boxing. Thai boxing. Thai boxing. Thai boxing. Thai boxing.